Faith, a lonely artist in her early 30s, signs up for 90-day love link on a friend's suggestion. She meets Loren, whose charm and artistic personality initially draw her in. Faith and Loren begin chatting online. His fixation on her feet surfaces subtly, but she brushes it off as a quirky trait. He asks for a date, and she agrees. Faith meets Loren at a cafe. The date starts well, but takes a strange turn as Loren makes uncomfortable comments about her feet. She ends the night unsure about him. After Faith tries to cut ties, Loren becomes more obsessive. He sends gifts, sketches of her feet, and cryptic messages. Faith blocks him, but he begins stalking her. Loren shows up uninvited at Faith's apartment, attempting to break in. Faith calls the police. Loren flees but leaves behind a disturbing note. Loren is found deceased days later. His journal reveals his unhealthy obsession with Faith, leaving her grappling with guilt and trauma. Faith moves to a new city, seeking peace. She starts therapy but struggles to heal from the lingering fear Loren left behind. Faith adjusted the lamp on her desk, staring at the blank canvas before her. Another evening alone, she thought. Her brushes sat untouched, waiting for inspiration that hadn't come in months. Just try it, her best friend Amanda had insisted over coffee that morning. What's the worst that could happen? Faith sighed. Amanda had been on her case for weeks to sign up for 90-day love link. Unlike most dating apps, it catered to those seeking commitment. I met Greg there, remember? It's not like those hookup apps, Amanda had said, flashing her engagement ring. Later that evening, Faith gave in. She downloaded the app and created a profile, describing herself as an artist who loved sunsets, old books, and morning coffee. Her inbox filled quickly. Most of the messages were uninspiring, riddled with typos or generic compliments. Then she saw a message from Loren. I love your description of sunsets and coffee. It sounds like you see the world in colors most people overlook. Tell me, do you paint them too? His words intrigued her. Clicking on his profile, she saw a photo of a man standing by a lake, wearing a shy smile and a cap. His bio read, finding beauty in the details, looking for someone who sees the world like I do. They started chatting that evening, and Faith found herself laughing at his clever jokes. Loren told her about his freelance work as an illustrator and his dream of publishing a children's book. She shared her struggles with inspiration and how painting was her escape. For weeks, they texted back and forth, their conversations growing deeper. Loren seemed thoughtful and genuine until his peculiar comments began surfacing. One night, while discussing Faith's love of painting, Loren asked, "Do you ever paint your feet?" Faith laughed, thinking he was joking. "No, but now I might consider it." "You should," he replied quickly. Feet are fascinating. They're the foundation of our lives, but we overlook them. Yours seem especially elegant. Faith paused. It was an odd compliment, but she chalked it up to his artistic perspective. Loren often spoke in abstract terms, finding beauty in mundane things. But his comments about her feet became more frequent. Your sandals in that beach photo? Stunning. They highlight the curve of your toes perfectly. Thanks, Faith replied, uneasy but unsure how to address it. Despite her reservations, Loren's charm kept her engaged. When he suggested meeting in person, she agreed. Faith arrived at the cafe early, nervously tapping her fingers on the table. Loren walked in moments later, carrying a bouquet of wildflowers. "Hi, Faith," he said softly, his voice warm. Their conversation started smoothly. Loren talked about his childhood love of drawing and how he found peace in nature. Faith found herself relaxing, his awkward charm disarming her nerves. Then mid-conversation, he leaned forward. "You have really lovely hands," he said. "Delicate but strong." The same way. Faith froze. Thanks, she said, trying to laugh it off. Loren's eyes lingered on her sandals. Do you always wear open-toed shoes? They really suit you. Faith's stomach churned. She changed the subject quickly, steering the conversation back to art. Loren followed her lead, but his gaze kept drifting downward. When the date ended, Loren insisted on walking her to her car. As she unlocked the door, he hesitated. Faith, he said, his voice low, can I touch them? Just for a second. She stepped back, heart pounding. I think it's time for me to go, she said, getting into her car and driving off without looking back. Faith decided that was the last time she'd speak to Loren. She sent a polite message the next day, thanking him for the date, but saying she didn't see a future. Loren's reply came almost immediately. What did I do wrong? He wrote, I thought we had something special. When Faith didn't respond, the messages kept coming. Please don't ignore me. I just need to understand. She blocked his number, but Loren found her on social media. He began commenting on her photos, particularly ones where her feet were visible. You have such a unique energy. I can feel it through your feet. Faith made her accounts private, but then the gifts started arriving. The first was a box of sandals in her exact size, accompanied by a note. For your perfect feet. The next was a small jar of foot balm, labeled, to keep them soft. Faith's unease grew into outright fear. She called Amanda, who urged her to report him to the police.